Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch today's video. I want to get into a subject that, well, we haven't covered yet on this channel. And it is about the current legal proceedings and the potential outcome of the contested election. Now, we talked about the election way back when it first happened, but that's been a few weeks ago. And a lot has happened since then. And it's something that I think a lot of conservatives especially are thinking about and worried about. But really, it's way bigger than one particular candidate winning over the other particular candidate. If the things that are being said are true, the internal, meaning inside this country, and the global repercussions could be unmeasurably epic, to put it in the simplest terms I can. So I do believe that we should get into it and see how we need to prepare for this. And maybe along the way, dig into a little bit of conspiracy. So because of the content, I am not monetizing this video. And if you would like to support this video and this channel, there are links in the description below to some affiliate accounts of products that I approve of. You're more than welcome to use those in purchasing things like long-term foods, t-shirts, herbal products, water filtration. They're all there below. You don't have to use them, no obligation, and I still love you if you don't. But if you're in the market for those items, wouldn't mind if you click on them and see what's there available. There's some pretty good deals also, especially this weekend because of Black Friday. So, as you all know, or at least I'm going to assume all of you know, there are two major legal fronts being attacked or in motion in this whole contested election. And one is through the president's political campaign being headed up by Rudy Giuliani. And the other one is an independent, standalone group headed up by Sidney Powell. They've worked with the president's campaign, even spoken at the same press conferences together, but as we've all learned, they are two separate legal teams working kind of for the same cause. The things that they are saying, if they are in fact true, if they can be proven to be true, it will be much bigger than overturning an election or deciding who the true winner is of the election. There is a potential of global chaos, really, in a lot of ways. And with all the things that we are preparing ourselves for, the Great Reset, Grand Solar Minimum, the health crisis, and, on and on and on. It's just like everything. This may be the catalyst to really set things in motion. I don't know. But what I do know is just looking at the surface of the things that are being said and accusations being made, there's a whole lot more to it than just, oh, well, this guy actually won instead of this guy. Because from a legal standpoint, just the things that we know kind of to be true are really enough from a legal standpoint to spark a little bit of concern or even sometimes start an investigation. For instance, we know for a fact that on the night of the election, in the middle of the night, they paused the counting. Several states, they stopped the counting, which was extremely unusual. And I remember when I was watching it, and I thought, this is really strange. I've never in my life seen them stop in the middle of the night on the night of election and just, oh, well, we're going to go home. It's pretty much always assumed, especially for an election worker or something, that you're going to be there for a long time. You better get caught up on your sleep because you're probably going to be an all-nighter for a lot of jurisdictions. And for them to just pause while one candidate is in the lead and then hours later restart the counting and miraculously the other candidate is now way in the lead. That's really suspicious. The fact that As far as we know, and according to Rudy Giuliani, never before has poll workers been barred from actually watching the counting. The people, the Republican poll workers that are supposed to be monitoring it, they were not allowed. We know this to be true. This was all over the news the night that it happened. And just those two things right there, from a legal standpoint, I believe are enough for, say, a prosecuting attorney to say, yeah, you know, we should probably look into this because that's a little fishy. Now, there's one aspect of this, and I don't know how much I'll go into it, is the fact that obviously, where's the FBI? Where is, the Attorney General that said weeks ago that they were going to look into this, and then we've heard this deafening silence. Suspicious, right? I mean, they within a 24 to 48 hour period, they run off to investigate a pull rope for a garage door because they think it might have racial implications. But possibly the greatest the crime, if it exists in our nation's history, they're just deathly silent on it. That's weird. But what I want to get into is, if, in fact, all this stuff that's being said is true, what is that going to do for us? And something that I want to point out, and this was last night, and I should have gotten the source of this to show, just because people like, sources. They don't want to think that I'm just on here lying. But Sidney Powell said in an interview, and I watched this last night. It was I think it was with Newsmax. May have been Fox News, but I think it was Newsmax. She said that the deception, the corruption that they used to manipulate the vote is so blatantly obvious. She said that's the strange thing, that it's so obvious, that it's so easy to see, that once you kind of dig into it, she said it's not like they really tried to hide it. And she said it makes me wonder if there's something bigger going on. If this, election fraud thing is kind of a cover for something else. And here's something that I don't know that anyone said, and I kind of thought of this. If they're capable, if they truly are capable, and to me this can either prove it one or two ways. Either that all this election fraud didn't happen and the election happened as fraudulently or as without fraud as it could ever have been. So the numbers are exactly what they are. Or something really, really fishy is going on. Because what we're learning is that all this capability to manipulate the vote, if it does exist, seems to have existed for quite a while over the last few elections, probably somewhere back into President Obama's time in office. So if, in fact, they've had this ability to go in there and manipulate the vote in this way, then why didn't they do it when Hillary was running against Trump? I mean, things kind of worked out the same way at first. The media was parading her around as the obvious winner for months before the election. Remember that? How she was leading by double digits. I mean, it was they were trying to convince people that Trump had not one chance at all of winning. He did not have a single chance of winning. Don't even go vote. Everyone just stay home because Hillary's going to win. Remember that? That's pretty much how they made it sound. And then the truth is that Trump won by pretty large margin. He didn't win the popular vote per se, but in the individual states, he won and he won areas that Republicans don't typically win in. And so my question is if they had this capability, why not use it then? Because on the surface, from a liberal standpoint, from the Democrats and from the liberal and from the progressives and the Marxists and all those people's standpoint, I would think that Hillary would been a much better leader to get her into office. And at that time, it probably would have been much more believable that she won, because even conservatives weren't really sure. A lot of conservatives weren't really big on Trump at that time because he was new. We didn't really know. I mean, he talked a good talk, but no one really knew if he was actually going to be a good president, because He was a complete outsider. So I think it would have been much more believable to have her win and to say, well, he was just the underdog from the beginning. As opposed to now, when you have a campaign where tens of thousands of people all over the country are coming out in droves and in parades and armadas and all over the country praising the sitting president, and the opposing person, the opposing candidate, can't hardly draw 50 people to a campaign rally. And then for him to win by numbers that far outdo even Obama when he won as president. That's weird, right? I mean, think about that. If they have that capability, then why are they doing it now? Is it because they want Biden really in because he's easy to manipulate? But like Sidney Powell said, if what she says is true, that the way they did this was so blatantly obvious, it was almost like they were wanting someone to find out. So if that's the case, then what else is going on? I don't know. I have some theories. I have one theory, and I'm going to go ahead and tell it. I wasn't going to because, sometimes my own things that work in my head kind of sound crazy when I speak them. But one possible theory is what if this whole Marxist Great Reset thing, they're going to try to spin it that, well, voting is so corrupt, we just shouldn't have it. The world just shouldn't vote for people. We'll create some other new way to figure out who our leaders are. But this voting it's so corrupt. Look how corrupt it is. I don't know if that's the way they're going to spin it. But I'm telling you this. Let's get back on track because I feel like I've gotten a little off track. I'm out here chasing rabbits down the trail. The fact is, it's gone on long enough now that a good percentage of the American population already think that Biden is the obvious winner. Even conservatives, even Republicans. Because you have to remember something, and this is true with a lot of things, not just this one particular instance. The vast majority of the American population, it's not that they watch mainstream news and that's where they get their information. Whether it be the left, but whether it be Fox or CNN. The vast majority of the American population, they don't watch the news at all. They're completely oblivious to what's going on. Most of the people that are aware, a little bit at least, of what's going on behind the scenes are either the far right or the far left, the more open-minded people. You and I, and then also we have our counterparts on the left. But the vast majority of the American people, they don't even watch the news. They watch it occasionally when there's something big going on, and then they don't watch it again until something else big is going on. So they just are completely oblivious. It's not that they, may be supportive of one candidate or another. They're just, we were told 3 weeks ago that Biden won, so he won, and we haven't watched the news since, so we're just going about our lives like normal, right? If, in fact, what Giuliani and Powell are saying are true, and if they're able to prove it, even if they're not able to prove it in court, even if they're able to make enough of a case to the public, that the public believes it, that the public starts to realize that there's some kind of corruption. I don't even know if they really have to prove it in court, to win in court. If they're able to win it in the eyes of the public, present such a case that they're able to win in the court of public opinion, but certainly in a legal court, do you realize the amount of upset that is going to be in this country? If they're able to prove that our election system for years has been no more stable than, say, an election in Afghanistan. In fact, that's what the state senator in Pennsylvania, and I cannot remember his name, but he's the one that's been heading the hearings with Rudy Giuliani, where they've been looking into this, and he made that statement. He said, and he's a war veteran from Afghanistan, and he said, if this is all true, our elections are no more secure than someplace like Afghanistan. Do you guys are you starting to see where this could lead? Not only Not only would the left, especially the hard left, have to be told the devastating news that their guy actually didn't win and that they have to put up with the orange man for 4 more years. That enough is going to cause them to burn cities to the ground. But the fact that the entire system is so corrupt that foreign countries that we consider adversaries and enemies are able to, with the click of a button, choose who's the winner. Now, for you and I, a lot of us, we've already suspected this kind of stuff has been true. We've talked about for years about how presidents aren't really elected, they're chosen. They're chosen by the elites and everything. But that's always been a crazy conspiracy theory, right? The vast majority of the population don't believe that. They may not even be aware that that conspiracy theory exists. But if it's provable in court that, in fact, our elections are so manipulated that candidates from the local to the federal level can buy their way into office, that foreign nations can choose who wins and who loses, the amount of chaos that could bring may be more than we're really prepared to deal with. And it may not just happen on a level in the United States. For in fact, if they're able to prove that China and Iran and places like that are involved, well, they're manipulating our elections. I mean, that's an act of war. Also, this electronic voting system is used in other countries also. So if they're able to prove that it's faulty here, then probably, I would say, a lot of those other countries might start saying, hey, well, what about our elections? We use the same machines. Does that mean that our president or our prime minister was chosen and manipulated into office by some foreign country? Folks, this could be serious. Now, I'm not trying to terrify people, but it's definitely something we have to think about. And I know that many of you probably are. So, with all the other craziness that's happening right now, I do think that we need to start preparing ourselves for this. Start getting ourselves ready in the ways that we've talked about many times on this channel. Getting ourselves ready for the real potential of there being some chaos happening in the streets. Now, they may not be able to prove anything in court. They may lose miserably. The things that they're saying may just be some crazy conspiracy, and it's all either doesn't exist or not proven, and things may go to just normal, and we have a new president that is a progressive socialist. Honestly, at this point, I don't think there's any way for us to win. I think either way, we're going to lose. So my message today is to get prepared. Get your life, your family. You should be doing that anyways. That's why you're watching this channel, right? Is to get yourselves prepared. But think about this. And this could be serious, folks. If they're able to prove what they're claiming, both parties, both Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani, if they're able to prove it, it may be the crime of human history. It could be very epic. All right, folks. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.